Hello everybody. Don't Starve Together is now on mobile, and is actually pretty decent. Some people wanted to know my opinions on the mobile port of Don't Starve Together, so I wanted to make a quick little review of it with the few hours I put into it already. To get my verdict out of the way, I am impressed with what they managed to do with this, and would strongly recommend it if mobile Don't Starve Together is something you need in your life. I do have a couple of gripes here and there, but we'll get to those when we need to. This review is under the assumption that you've played the game before on PC, or you know what Don't Starve is in general, as I'm reviewing this as the port itself and not the game Don't Starve. Don't Starve Together is this weird, quirky little survival game. It's rather challenging, but also charming. There's your overview for Don't Starve. Some technical stuff first. The game cost me £8.99. It is available on both iOS and Android, with crossplay between the two platforms but not with PC or consoles. It has in-app purchases in the forms of bolts of cloth, which are used as a premium currency to buy skins directly, much like the console versions. You can still weave skins and characters for free via the unravelling of in-game skin drops, which are entirely free. The game is also available in numerous other languages, including Spanish and Portuguese, which is super good. I don't even think the PC version has those official translations. Also, despite me being a Clay ambassador, this video is not sponsored whatsoever. First of all, what does the mobile port contain when compared to the desktop/console versions? Everything. Like, literally everything. Every character, their insight trees, all their skins, the caves, the compendium, the ocean, every update, up until the Year of the Horse, it's a little bit behind in that regard, and every one of those weird little mini-games you can play in the trade-in. This is, for all intents and purposes, a full one-to-one port of the mainline versions of Don't Starve Together on a mobile device, with little to no expenses paid. In fact, it is so synchronous with the mainline versions that you are able to link your Clay account with a mobile one to transfer all of your skins and character unlocks between them. I didn't do it for this video because I have some issues with my iCloud account existing as two different accounts at once. You may make fun of me for using an iPhone in the comments down below. But that problem is entirely on my end and nothing to do with the port itself. Plus, I didn't want to spend too much time messing around with account linking and spend all of my time actually testing and playing the game. Jazzy did do a useful little video guide if you want to see how to do the account linking though. Go check him out. Anyway, so how does the game actually play then? Like, super bloody well at that. I'm running this on an iPhone 15. Not the most recent iPhone, but not one that's too old either, and the game ran almost as good as it would on my PC, with little fidelity loss in graphics. In fact, even the loading times were slightly better than my PC. I know the performance of Don't Starve Together on PC can be a bottleneck for a lot of people, so seeing it run as well as it did on mobile was a pleasant treat, especially for those who have a better phone than they do a PC. Either way, it's got tons of options in the settings menu to help boost your performance or experience as you see fit, which is refreshing. I'm from a generation where mobile and console games had no graphical options. You can even turn on lag compensation like on the PC version. Just, you might not actually want to do that right now since it seems to be bugged in many places. We'll get to that shortly. Overall, good performance on my part, but as with every mobile game, your mileage will vary. But yeah, it's Don't Starve Together, but in a mobile setting. The controls did have to almost entirely be reworked for it to be existing in a touch setting, and whilst it does share elements with the original single-player mobile port, as someone who has never played that version, it feels good enough for me. It's a little bit fiddly and cumbersome at times when compared to the freedom you get with a mouse and keyboard, but the touchscreen controls kind of give you better manipulation over your inventory and the world around you when compared to using a controller, which is something I tried out when I played Don't Starve on the Steam Deck. I never thought I would say touchscreen controls are better than controller, but here we are. However, there are some gripes I have with the touchscreen controls. First of all, I'm someone who loves rotating their camera around like a madman when I'm playing on PC. On the mobile version, camera rotations require you to do this weird two-pronged rotational movement with your fingers, which either requires you to take your thumb off the joystick or finagle your right hand in a weird way. This is solely a me problem since I rotate my camera all the time when I'm playing Don't Starve, and having it to require broader movements like this just doesn't sit too right with me, and requires me to stand still or stop what I'm doing to rotate the camera, all the while I'm touching the entire screen and inspecting random stuff as I do so. I would honestly prefer it personally if we got some on-screen rotational buttons that allow us to rotate the screen with a quick press, but this is just a me problem. The normal player doesn't rotate their screen as much as I do. It also rotates at angles less than 45 degrees, which is odd but kind of cool. It's something it has over the PC version. The second gripe I have with the controls is regards to the inventory. Now I actually do kind of like the inventory since you're given more freedom of movement than if you were to use a controller, as you can tap on any item in your inventory to move it around or use it, instead of needing to use bumpers or triggers when using a controller. Sadly though, there is a bug as of me writing this, where you cannot move inventory items within your inventory if you try to drag an item out of your inventory at some point. It seemingly triggers randomly, as it didn't trigger at all on a different character I tried, but once it triggers, you have to restart the game completely in order to get the ability to move items back. This is just a bug, and I imagine it'll get fixed very soon, because it does set back the otherwise pretty darn good inventory manipulation system. I just also wish there was some more context-sensitive options in your inventory. Like, when you have an icebox and a crockpot open, without the ability to drag items between them because of a bug, you need to take the items out of the icebox into your inventory and then insert them into the crockpot. Would be nice if there was a transfer to crockpot button on food in an icebox whilst the crockpot is also open. When the inventory is not bugged though, you can just drag items between the two inventories, and it's decent enough, albeit still slower than using a mouse, as is expected. But that's it for my inventory issues. The HUD itself is wonderful for a mobile port, deciding to rather sensibly have status numbers always active, much like the expanded status mod on PC does, since you can't really mouse over your stats in a mobile version, and tapping them constantly would be very annoying. So, good that we can always get a reading on our stats at a quick glance. I also gotta commend the porting and performance of the crafting menu. You got your favourite tabs like in Don't Starve Together that you can assign things to, as well as an easy to navigate and use crafting menu, just like on PC. In fact, pretty much every menu is simple and easy to navigate, translated just swell to a mobile display. The inventory UI does look massive on the recording, but it kinda needs to be big on a small phone screen. You can always adjust the HUD size however, no issues here. Sadly, I cannot say the same for some of the contextual options when interacting with the world. As you can see, the game does this thing where it highlights the nearest thing that you can interact with, and for the most part, it does a pretty good job at it, with enemies and objects having their own targeting priorities. In fact, I absolutely love how it chops trees and boulders faster when holding the context button compared to PC. Seriously, it is so much faster on mobile. However, sometimes the contextual targeting can get a little bit confused and will try to target something you don't want it to. An example I had was with a fire pit that I wanted to fuel, which for some reason wouldn't give me the contextual option on the fuel in my inventory, since my character was laser focused on the charcoal next to it. Another example is when feeding spiders as Weber, sometimes it just didn't give me the option to feed a spider right next to me. It's not a huge problem, you just need to sometimes give your character a wiggle, but it is just a tiny bit of abrasion that can get in the way sometimes. Overall, the controls for the mobile version would definitely take some time getting used to, but it is intuitive enough for me, someone who never plays mobile games, to just pick up and play and do the usual don't starve things that I normally do, even down to pitchforking a base instead of spending that time doing better things. Like exploring the caves that actually run super well, better than most PCs run the caves in fact. I'm all about that base building life myself, and honestly, I like it. You can use touch controls independent of the virtual joystick to adjust exactly where to place structures, which is nice. I am also using the inbuilt geometric placement system you can enable in the settings. I wish we could just adjust grid size outside of the settings, but that's just me. Fighting enemies is also incredibly simple as well, and with the lock-on feature, does make it easier to not target the wrong thing, unlike lighting a fire, which is nice. What isn't nice is that I noticed that there was this weird thing where I would attack significantly slower than on the PC version. As in, an attack every second with a delay no matter how much I hold or mash the attack button. I also noticed I wouldn't be affected by hit stuns at all, and even assumed that this was a feature for the mobile version to make the game easier, as you could move after being attacked. But it turns out this was just a bug with lag compensation, which I turned on at the start of my session. It just messes with combat entirely, making it both easier and harder, which sadly means using lag compensation is just not viable, which is a shame if you're someone like me and enjoys the smoother experience that lag compensation typically offers. Again, 99% sure that this is a bug that will get fixed, and at the end of the day, it only affects weird people like me that like lag compensation. Hello, they actually just fixed this bug just like a few days ago, and yeah, so never mind then. Whatever, use lag compensation all you want, gamers. Overall, despite the few flaws I've ran into and the abrasion I felt with learning the new touch controls, it is still undeniably an impressive port. It's the entirety of Don't Starve Together on my phone. There are no expenses being spared except for an update being late. The only thing holding it back for me personally are the situational bugs and, of course, the mobile controls that take ages to get used to, but even then I feel like I'm already getting used to them the more I play. Is this the best way to play Don't Starve Together? Well, that solely depends on you. For me, as someone who has a very decent computer and rarely plays mobile games at all outside of nonsense like Idle Obelisk Miner, this game rocks by the way, then it's not the best way to play the game for me. But if you don't have a decent PC, or even if you just prefer mobile gaming overall and are willing to put in the effort to learn the new controls, this can more than be the best way to play Don't Starve Together for you. Either way, it's a fun little diversion to play if you're away from your PC, like you're at work or you're at school, or you just don't want to be sat in front of your PC and lay in bed and squeeze in a cheeky Ruins rush before you fall asleep. Do I recommend the Don't Starve mobile port? Well, I know a lot of people who really want to play DST on their phone have already made their minds up, but for those that haven't, Yeah, I think I would. Maybe I would wait until they iron out the bugs and such, but at the price tag of just £9 and you get the entirety of Don't Starve Together, a game that's disgustingly full of content in of itself, right in my pocket, with a control system that's only slightly bothersome, I'll never complain. Sure, the PC version has mod support and controls that don't hurt my fingers, but this mobile port is as good as you can get for a game that's as weird as Don't Starve, in both controlling and gameplay. But if you don't really care for a mobile version of Don't Starve Together, like you play it on PC or console and don't necessarily like touchscreen controls a lot of the time, then I would say you can safely skip this. Oh, I almost forgot, it is a multiplayer game after all. How does the actual multiplayer work? Well, you're not going to believe this, it is exactly the same as on the other platforms. It's got full online play and everything. The performance will probably take a tank on lower end devices if you have someone in the caves and someone on the surface, but it's like that on any platform. Seriously, it is just Don't Starve Together, but on your phone. Nothing more, nothing less. And that's wonderful. There is no crossplay between platforms, but I'm 99% sure that is a thing on the console versions too. But what do you guys think of the Don't Starve Together mobile port? Do you love it? Do you hate it? Do you want some more of it? Let me know down below. I would love to hear your guys' opinion on it and see if you had the same issues I did. But also, I want to see what you like about the port as well. But for now, I'm gonna go cook some more mobile meatballs. Cheers for watching, everybody. Take care. Bye bye.